Right now, at this very moment, over 20 million soldiers are standing ready across this planet. Not in history books, not in museums. Right now, today. Some are patrolling frozen mountain borders in the dead of winter. Some are sitting inside nuclear submarines 300 meters below the ocean's surface. Some are monitoring screens in air-conditioned bunkers, fingers hovering over systems that could erase a city in minutes. We live in an era where a single general's decision can shift the fate of entire nations, where technology has made warfare faster, deadlier, and more invisible than ever before. But here's the question that keeps world leaders awake at night. Who is truly the most powerful? Not just who has the most soldiers, not just who spends the most money, but who has the doctrine, the technology, the will, and the reach to project power anywhere on Earth at any time. Today, we rank the 5 most powerful armies in the world in 2025, and we're going to go deep, beyond the headlines, beyond the propaganda, into what actually makes a military force a global superpower. Stay with me, because some of what you are about to hear will genuinely surprise you.
Before we begin the ranking, let us be clear about one thing. Military power is not a simple number. You cannot just count tanks and declare a winner. Analysts and defense institutions around the world measure military strength across 6 key categories. First, active manpower and reserve forces. How many trained soldiers can a country put in the field, and how fast? Second, nuclear capability. Does the country possess nuclear weapons? How many? And, critically, can it deliver them? Third, air power. Fighter jets, stealth aircraft, drones, air defense systems. Control the sky, and you control the battlefield. Fourth, naval power. Aircraft carriers, submarines, destroyer fleets. A navy is how you project power beyond your own borders. Fifth, technology and cyber warfare. In 2025, wars are not just fought in deserts and oceans. They are fought on computer networks, satellite systems, and in the electromagnetic spectrum. And sixth, defense budget. Money is what turns strategy into hardware. With these 6 pillars in mind, let us begin.
At number 5, a nation whose empire once covered a quarter of the entire Earth. The United Kingdom. Britain's military today is a fraction of what it once was in the Age of Empire. The army has fewer than 80,000 active soldiers. By raw numbers alone, that sounds modest, but size is not the story here. The British Armed Forces are among the most professionally trained and technologically sophisticated military forces in human history. The United Kingdom is one of only 5 nations on Earth that possesses a fully independent nuclear deterrent, carried by 4 Vanguard-class submarines, each capable of launching Trident II ballistic missiles with enough destructive power to end civilizations. Britain operates 2 Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers, some of the most advanced surface warships in the world. The Royal Air Force flies F-35B stealth fighters. British Challenger 3 tanks are among the most protected ground vehicles in NATO. But perhaps Britain's most feared military asset is not hardware at all. It is the Special Air Service, the SAS. Founded in World War II, the SAS wrote the global playbook for Special Forces operations: counterterrorism, hostage rescue, behind enemy lines intelligence. The SAS has been operating in virtually every major conflict zone on Earth for the past 80 years, most of the time without anyone knowing they were there. Britain may have lost its empire, but it never lost its edge.
At number 4, a civilization 5,000 years old, now building one of the most formidable military machines on the planet: India.
The Indian Armed Forces consist of over 1.4 million active personnel, making it one of the 3 largest standing armies in the world by head count. India is a nuclear power with an estimated 170 warheads, and it operates a nuclear triad, meaning it can launch nuclear weapons from land, air, and sea. India's Air Force flies Russian Su-30 MKIs, French Rafale jets, and is in the process of acquiring more advanced platforms. The Indian Navy operates aircraft carriers, nuclear-powered submarines, and is actively expanding its presence across the Indian Ocean, a body of water that carries 40% of the world's trade. India's defense budget crossed $100 billion in 2025, making it one of the top 5 defense spenders on Earth. But here's what the numbers do not capture. India's military has been forged in real combat experience, not simulation, not training exercises. The Indian Army has fought wars against Pakistan and China. It has conducted counterinsurgency operations across Kashmir for decades. It operates in the world's most challenging terrain, from the scorching Rajasthan desert to the Siachen Glacier, the highest battlefield on Earth at over 6,000 meters altitude. And speaking of Pakistan, the India-Pakistan military rivalry is one of the defining strategic tensions of our time. Both nations are nuclear powers. Both have fought multiple wars. And the May 2025 confrontation, known as Operation Sindoor, reminded the world just how dangerous this rivalry remains. India launched cross-border airstrikes into Pakistani territory, targeting what it described as militant infrastructure. Pakistan's Air Force responded, and for approximately 4 days, 2 nuclear-armed nations engaged in the most serious, direct military confrontation since the Kargil War of 1999. Pakistani pilots flying Chinese-supplied J-10C jets claimed kills against Indian aircraft. India claimed its own strikes caused significant damage. International pressure, led primarily by the United States, brought both sides to a ceasefire on May 10th. The strategic outcome remains contested. Both governments claimed success. Independent analysts said both sides demonstrated serious capabilities, and both sides absorbed serious costs. What the world watched in May 2025 was not just a regional skirmish. It was a live demonstration of how nuclear-armed neighbors with modern air forces, precision missiles, and deep historical grievances come terrifyingly close to a catastrophe and pull back only at the last moment. India remains at number 4, but the lesson of May 2025 is this: capability alone does not determine outcomes. Geography, doctrine, and political will all matter.
At number 3, a military that has been through fire, scandal, catastrophic losses, and brutal reorganization, and is still, by any honest measure, one of the most dangerous forces on Earth. Russia. The Russian military's performance in Ukraine after 2022 exposed deep structural problems: poor logistics, outdated doctrine, catastrophic officer casualties, and equipment losses that shocked Western analysts. But here's the danger of writing Russia off. Russia possesses the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet, approximately 5,900 nuclear warheads, of which nearly 1,500 are actively deployed. This is not a historical footnote. This is a live, strategic reality that defines every military calculation made in Washington, Brussels, and Beijing. Russia's hypersonic missile program is among the most advanced in the world. The Kinzhal missile flies at 10 times the speed of sound. The Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle is essentially impossible to intercept with current technology. These are not prototype weapons. They have been used in active combat. Russia's Arctic warfare capability is unmatched. Its submarine fleet, particularly its nuclear-armed ballistic missile submarines,
remains a first-class strategic threat. And despite losses in Ukraine, Russia's defense industry has been operating on a war footing since 2022, producing artillery shells, missiles, and armored vehicles at a pace that has genuinely surprised NATO planners. Russia's military in 2025 is bloodied, reformed, and more experienced in modern high-intensity warfare than any other force on Earth, for better or worse. That experience has a cost, but it also produces lessons, and Russia is applying those lessons in real time.
At number 2, a military that 20 years ago was considered a regional power with aging equipment and Soviet-era doctrine. Today, it is something entirely different. China. The People's Liberation Army is the largest military force in the world. Over 2 million active personnel across its Army, Navy, Air Force, Rocket Force, and Strategic Support Force. But raw numbers are the least interesting part of China's military story. What is extraordinary is the speed and scale of China's military modernization. In the past 2 decades, China has gone from operating a fleet of outdated 4th-generation fighters to deploying the J-20, a genuine stealth aircraft that NATO analysts take very seriously. China now operates 3 aircraft carriers, with more under construction. It has the largest navy in the world by number of hulls. Its destroyer and frigate fleet is modern, capable, and growing every year. China's rocket force, the branch that controls its ballistic and cruise missiles, has built one of the most extensive missile arsenals on Earth. The DF-41 intercontinental ballistic missile can reach any city in the United States in approximately 30 minutes. The DF-21D and DF-26, known as carrier killer missiles, are specifically designed to threaten American aircraft carriers operating in the Pacific. In cyber warfare, China's capabilities are considered among the top 2 in the world, alongside the United States. Chinese state-sponsored hacking operations have penetrated government networks, defense contractors, and critical infrastructure across dozens of countries. China's defense budget is officially around $220 billion, but most analysts believe the real figure, when accounting for purchasing power and off-budget spending, is significantly higher. And here is the strategic reality that defines everything. China's military is not built to fight wars everywhere. It is built to win one specific war, a conflict over Taiwan in the Western Pacific against the United States and its allies. Every aircraft carrier, every carrier killer missile, every cyber operation, every island base in the South China Sea, it is all pointing in one direction. Whether that war ever comes, that is the question that defines 21st century geopolitics. And at number 1, by a margin that no other nation on Earth comes close to matching, the United States of America. Let us start with a single fact that captures everything. The United States operates 11 aircraft carrier strike groups. The rest of the world, combined, operates 12. Let that sink in. Each American carrier strike group includes an aircraft carrier with 70 to 90 combat aircraft, more air power than the entire air force of most nations. Surrounding each carrier is a protective screen of guided missile cruisers, destroyers, attack submarines, and supply ships. Each strike group can project devastating military force anywhere on the planet's oceans, and the United States has 11 of them. The American defense budget in 2025 stands at approximately $890 billion. That is more than the next 10 nations on this list combined. The United States Air Force flies the F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II, the world's only operational 5th-generation stealth fighters in large-scale deployment. The B-2 Spirit stealth bomber can take off from Missouri, strike any target on Earth, and return home without ever appearing on enemy radar.
The B-21 Raider, its successor, entered service in 2024. American Special Operations Forces, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, Army Rangers, Air Force Pararescue are deployed in over 80 countries simultaneously at this very moment. Most Americans have no idea where. The United States maintains over 800 military bases in approximately 70 countries. No empire in human history, not Rome, not Britain, not the Mongols, has ever maintained a military presence this geographically extensive. America's nuclear arsenal consists of approximately 5,500 warheads. Its missile defense systems, while not perfect, are the most developed in the world. In space, the United States Space Force operates the most advanced constellation of military satellites ever assembled, providing GPS precision, surveillance, early warning, and communications that the entire American military machine depends on. In cyber warfare, U.S. Cyber Command and the NSA represent the most capable offensive and defensive cyber apparatus in existence. But here is the honest question that military historians and strategists debate. Is this dominance permanent? The honest answer is, no dominance lasts forever. China is closing the gap faster than anyone predicted. Russia remains a nuclear peer, and the nature of warfare itself is changing. Drones, cyber attacks, and space-based weapons are creating new battlefields where America's traditional advantages matter less. The United States in 2025 remains the world's uncontested #1 military power. But it is a #1 that is no longer sleeping comfortably.
So there it is. The 5 most powerful armies on Earth in 2025. At 5, Britain. Small in numbers, lethal in capability, with a nuclear deterrent and the world's most feared special forces. At 4, India. A billion-person democracy, building a military machine to match its ambitions, and a nuclear-armed rivalry with Pakistan that the whole world must take seriously. At 3, Russia. Wounded by war, reorganized by necessity, and still carrying the world's largest nuclear arsenal. At 2, China. The fastest military rise in modern history, and a force built with one specific war in mind. And at 1, the United States. 11 aircraft carriers, 800 bases, $890 billion. The most powerful military force in the history of human civilization. But power is never static. History's most powerful empires all eventually faced challengers they did not take seriously enough until it was too late. The world is changing. The balance of power is shifting. And the armies that will define the next 50 years are being built right now. This is war and military history, and this is the world we live in. If this video made you think, subscribe to the channel, share it with someone who needs to understand the world better, and leave your ranking in the comments below. Which country do you think deserves the top spot?